Imagine you're in the middle of a conversation with friends, but suddenly, you forget what you were saying. Or you open the fridge to grab something, only to forget what you needed the moment the door swings open. These moments of forgetfulness may seem normal, but if they start happening more often, they could be warning signs you shouldn't ignore. We often associate memory decline with old age, but in reality, subtle changes in behavior, communication, sleep patterns, and motor skills can begin decades before serious symptoms appear. So how can you tell the difference between ordinary forgetfulness and something more concerning? How do you recognize the early warning signs when your brain is trying to tell you something? In this article, we'll explore 6 early warning signs of cognitive decline, from difficulties in communication to subtle changes in movement and sensory perception. More importantly, you'll learn how to protect your brain today to preserve your memory and mental sharpness for years to come. The brain is the command center of your life, and there's so much you can do to keep it functioning at its best. Let's dive into the critical warning signs you need to pay attention to. Number 1. Difficulty finding words and conversation disruptions, an early sign of cognitive decline. Have you ever been in the middle of a conversation and suddenly lost your train of thought? Maybe you know exactly what you want to say, but the words just won't come out. Or worse, you start a sentence only to stop midway because you can't remember where you were going with it. Forgetting a word occasionally isn't a big deal, it happens to everyone. But when it starts occurring more frequently, leading to long pauses, frustration, or even making you avoid conversations altogether, it could be an early warning sign of cognitive decline. People experiencing this symptom often struggle to find the right words, even for everyday objects, or they may substitute incorrect words like saying cooking stick instead of spoon. They might pause mid-sentence, repeat themselves because they forgot what they just said, or withdraw from conversations out of embarrassment. In 2022, veteran TV personality and journalist Wendy Williams became a topic of concern not for her usual outspoken remarks, but for something far more troubling. Viewers noticed her stopping mid-sentence, forgetting words, and sometimes losing her train of thought entirely during live broadcasts. At first, many assumed it was due to exhaustion or stress. But as these lapses became more frequent, speculation grew. Wendy later admitted she was struggling with memory issues, prompting experts to question whether these were early signs of cognitive decline. Her situation raises an important question: how often do we overlook warning signs like these? According to Harvard Medical School, 2 critical areas of the brain, Broca's area and Wernicke's area, are responsible for language processing. These regions help you recall words, form sentences, and understand conversations. When these areas begin to deteriorate, a person may struggle more with word retrieval, experience frequent pauses, forget phrases, or replace words incorrectly. They may even start avoiding conversations altogether because communication becomes too difficult and stressful. Neurologists emphasize that early dementia doesn't erase memories overnight. Instead, it disrupts how the brain retrieves and organizes information, making word recall and language use increasingly challenging over time. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease found that people in their 40s and 50s who frequently struggled to find words were at a higher risk of developing dementia later in life. This suggests that minor changes in language use could serve as early warning signs long before severe symptoms like memory loss or confusion set in. Forgetting a word now and then is completely normal. But when difficulty finding words becomes frequent and disrupts conversations, it's a warning sign worth paying attention to. Identifying this sign early can open the door to proactive brain health strategies, helping slow the progression of more serious symptoms down the road. Number 2. Loss of interest in life, an early warning sign of cognitive decline. Have you ever known someone who was once full of energy, always engaged in activities they loved, but then suddenly lost all enthusiasm? Maybe they were an avid golfer who stopped going to the course, a passionate painter who no longer picked up a brush, or a devoted family member who started skipping holiday gatherings. At first, it might seem like they are just feeling a little off. But when this withdrawal becomes persistent, it could signal something much deeper, a shift in brain function that shouldn't be ignored. Losing interest in one's enjoyable activities isn't just a matter of aging or feeling tired. It can also be an early sign of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. While most people associate dementia with memory loss, one of the earliest warning signs is actually a lack of motivation, social withdrawal, and a fading passion for life. Those experiencing this symptom may show a significant decline in enthusiasm for hobbies or interests they once loved, avoid social gatherings, family events, or even casual conversations with friends. They may spend more time alone, withdraw from relationships, and become passive, neglecting daily responsibilities or routines that once brought them joy. To outsiders, these changes might resemble depression or just a shift in personality. But in reality, they could be early indicators of cognitive decline. In the world of football, few names carry as much respect as Marty Schottenheimer. As a legendary NFL coach, his entire life revolved around the game, analyzing plays, mentoring players, and strategizing for victories. But in the years before his Alzheimer's diagnosis, his passion began to fade. He no longer showed interest in the game he had lived and breathed. He stopped discussing strategies, ignored major games, and lost the excitement he once had for football. His family was puzzled. This was not a typical change. A study published in Alzheimer's and Dementia revealed that dopamine levels in the brain start declining very early in the development of Alzheimer's. Dopamine is a crucial neurotransmitter responsible for motivation and feelings of pleasure. When dopamine levels drop, activities that once brought joy and satisfaction no longer generate the same sense of excitement. This isn't just about losing interest, it's a physiological change in how the brain processes reward and motivation. Research shows that dopamine reduction in the brain can occur years before noticeable memory loss, causing individuals to gradually lose motivation and interest in life. This isn't merely a psychological shift, it's a biological warning sign that something deeper is happening within the brain. While there's no way to fully reverse neurodegeneration, there are ways to slow down its progression and help individuals maintain engagement with the world around them. Encouraging social interaction is one of the most effective strategies. People who frequently engage with loved ones, friends, or community activities have a lower risk of developing dementia. Joining clubs, participating in hobbies, or simply maintaining daily conversations can stimulate brain function and help keep the mind sharp. Keeping the body active through light physical activities like walking, yoga, or Tai Chi can also boost dopamine levels and support brain function. Studies show that regular exercise not only improves memory but also reduces the risk of Alzheimer's by increasing blood flow to the brain and promoting the growth of new brain cells. Physical activity is not just good for the heart, it has a profound impact on mental and cognitive health. Establishing daily routines can also be beneficial. A structured schedule with small but meaningful activities can create a sense of purpose and stability for individuals experiencing cognitive decline. Taking a morning walk, listening to favorite music in the afternoon, or having dinner with family are simple but powerful ways to make a positive impact. If you notice a loved one gradually losing interest in the things they once loved, avoiding social interactions, or becoming detached from life, don't dismiss it as just a mood change. These signs could be some of the earliest warnings of cognitive decline. Taking action early, even in small ways, can make a significant difference, helping to bring a spark back into their life and protect long-term cognitive health. Number 3. Early warnings from sleep, when sleep disorders may signal Alzheimer's. Imagine lying in bed, exhausted after a long day, but unable to fall asleep. Or maybe you drift off, only to wake up at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, unable to recall what woke you in the first place. Perhaps your dreams have become more intense, sometimes even frightening. These aren't just signs of stress or aging, they could be early warning signs that your brain is struggling. For many, sleep disturbances are dismissed as bad habits, anxiety, or just one of those things that happen with age. However, growing research reveals a direct link between poor sleep and cognitive decline. Disrupted, shallow, or insufficient sleep may contribute to neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. People experiencing cognitive-related sleep changes often struggle to fall asleep or stay asleep throughout the night. Wake up feeling disoriented or confused, unable to remember what they were doing. experience vivid dreams, nightmares, or restless movements in their sleep, battle daytime fatigue and mental fog, even after what seems like a full night's rest. At first, many overlook these symptoms, assuming they are caused by stress or aging. But in reality, these small changes in sleep may be one of the brain's earliest warning signals. Margaret had always been a good sleeper. She followed a consistent bedtime routine, rarely woke up at night, and always felt refreshed in the morning. However, over time, things started to change. At first, she noticed she was waking up more frequently, sometimes sitting up in bed with no idea why. Some nights, she had vivid, unsettling dreams that left her feeling exhausted and tense the next morning. During the day, she felt sluggish and mentally foggy. She struggled to concentrate and couldn't shake the feeling of exhaustion, despite getting what she thought was enough sleep. Forgetting names or misplacing objects in odd locations became more frequent. Initially, she dismissed it as a normal part of aging. However, as her symptoms worsened, her family started to notice changes, her memory declined, she repeated herself often, and she gradually withdrew from social interactions she once enjoyed. Years later, when she was diagnosed with early-stage Alzheimer's, her family looked back and realized that her sleep disturbances were one of the first warning signs, a sign they had overlooked at the time. For decades, researchers have studied the connection between sleep and brain health, and the findings are alarming. A study published by BBC Health stated, people who sleep less than 6 hours per night have a significantly higher risk of developing Alzheimer's. Why? Because sleep isn't just a time for your body to rest, it's also when your brain detoxifies itself. During deep sleep, the brain undergoes a self-cleaning process in which cerebrospinal fluid removes harmful waste proteins, including beta-amyloid and tau, the very proteins that accumulate in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. When sleep is disrupted or shortened, these toxic proteins begin to build up, creating an environment that causes brain cells to deteriorate at a faster rate. This is why chronic sleep deprivation isn't just an inconvenience, it's a major risk factor for neurodegeneration. Recent research suggests that sleep disorders may appear years before noticeable memory loss. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Neuroscience found disruptions in deep sleep are one of the earliest warning signs of Alzheimer's, appearing years before significant memory loss. Another study from the National Institute on Aging revealed people who consistently suffer from insomnia have a significantly higher risk of cognitive decline compared to those who sleep well. These findings reinforce an important idea. Poor sleep is not just a symptom of aging, it's an early warning sign that something deeper is happening in the brain. We often take sleep for granted until we start losing it. But chronic sleep issues should never be ignored, especially as we age. Research has made it clear, the better you sleep, the better your brain functions. If you or a loved one frequently wake up at night, experience excessive daytime fatigue, or suffer from intense sleep disturbances, don't just dismiss it as aging. It could be your brain's early warning sign of a more serious issue. By prioritizing quality sleep today, you are taking proactive steps to protect your cognitive future. And that's a wake-up call worth listening to. Number 4. Declining muscle strength and balance, an early warning sign of cognitive decline. If you've noticed that you're losing your balance more easily, walking slower, or tripping more often, it may not just be a sign of aging. Sometimes, subtle changes in mobility can be an early but crucial warning sign of cognitive decline. Many people don't pay attention to these changes until they start interfering with daily life. You might feel like your legs aren't as agile as they used to be, that it takes more effort to walk steadily, or that you find yourself reaching for walls or railings to keep your balance. If you used to get up from a chair effortlessly but now need a few extra seconds to steady yourself before taking a step, it could be a signal worth noticing. Basketball fans have noticed a clear change in Jerry West, an NBA legend. Once known for his quick and confident movements, he has recently been seen walking more cautiously, with slight unsteadiness. For an athlete who once had perfect control over his body, this change might not just be attributed to aging, it could also be linked to cognitive decline. A study cited by the New York Times found that people with weaker grip strength have a significantly higher risk of developing cognitive impairment. This highlights the deep connection between physical health and brain health. When the body weakens, it may be a reflection that the brain is also struggling. Scientists believe that motor control and cognitive function are closely intertwined. As the brain regions responsible for coordination begin to deteriorate, it doesn't just affect balance and movement speed, it may also be associated with cognitive decline. Loss of muscle mass, decreased flexibility, and reduced physical activity can limit blood flow to the brain, increasing the risk of neurodegeneration. Since these changes happen gradually, you might not notice them right away. However, when signs like frequent imbalance, slower walking speed, or persistent muscle weakness become more common, they could be an early warning from your brain. Changes in mobility don't just affect your ability to move safely, they may also indicate that cognitive function is being impacted. Paying attention to your body and recognizing small changes can help detect these early signals. Sometimes, the first sign that the brain is struggling isn't memory loss, it's the way you walk. Number 5. Changes in spatial awareness and sensory perception, an early warning sign of cognitive decline. Have you ever walked on a sidewalk and suddenly felt unsure about the distance between the ground and the curb? Or maybe you were pouring water into a glass and unexpectedly spilled it, even though you never had trouble with this before? These seemingly minor clumsy moments could actually be early warning signs that your brain is struggling to process spatial and sensory information. One of the most subtle indicators of cognitive decline is a shift in how we perceive the world around us. People experiencing these changes may struggle to judge distances, trip over objects more frequently, or find it difficult to do simple tasks like stepping onto a staircase or locating objects in space. They may also begin to lose their sense of smell or find that familiar foods no longer taste the same. Renowned chef Paula Deen once shared a story about a family member who suddenly had difficulty pouring water into a glass without spilling. At first, the family brushed it off as simple clumsiness, maybe they were just tired or distracted. But over time, similar incidents became more frequent. It soon became clear that this wasn't just occasional clumsiness, it was a significant change in the brain's ability to process spatial information. Eventually, a diagnosis of Alzheimer's confirmed their suspicions. Research from the University of Chicago has found that losing the ability to recognize smells can be one of the earliest indicators of Alzheimer's disease, appearing even before memory loss. This is because the brain regions responsible for processing scents are closely linked to areas that control memory and spatial awareness. When these regions begin to deteriorate, individuals may gradually lose the ability to recognize familiar smells like their morning coffee, freshly baked bread, or even a favorite perfume. Spatial awareness is also connected to how the brain processes visual and movement-related information. When the areas responsible for these functions decline, people may feel disoriented even in familiar places, struggle to navigate crowded spaces, or become overwhelmed by complex patterns and detailed visuals. These changes tend to happen gradually, making them difficult to recognize right away. However, if someone suddenly starts struggling with simple tasks like pouring a drink, frequently tripping, getting lost in familiar places, or failing to recognize familiar scents, it could be a serious warning sign that the brain is experiencing cognitive decline. Recognizing these signs early allows individuals and their families to take proactive steps in monitoring brain health and seeking appropriate support. Sometimes, the smallest details in daily life can be the most important signals of our overall well-being. Number 6. Difficulty making decisions, an early warning sign of cognitive decline. Have you ever found yourself struggling with a simple decision, like choosing a meal from a menu or picking out a household item? Maybe you take longer than usual to decide, or feel confused even about choices that once seemed effortless. If this happens frequently, it may not just be ordinary indecisiveness, it could be an early sign of cognitive decline. Difficulty making decisions often starts with small changes, hesitating when choosing a familiar route, struggling to plan finances, or feeling overly uncertain in everyday situations. Over time, however, it can evolve into a more serious issue, affecting how a person manages money, makes important life choices, or even ensures their own safety. CNN founder and billionaire Ted Turner was once known for his sharp business instincts. However, before being diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, he began making unusual and poor financial decisions. His friends and colleagues noticed clear changes in his judgment. His business transactions were no longer strategic, and he became more prone to errors in financial dealings. This raised concerns. Was something happening to his ability to assess risks and make sound decisions? According to the Alzheimer's Association, dementia affects the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for planning, judgment, and impulse control. When this area begins to decline, individuals may lose the ability to assess risks, become more susceptible to financial scams, or make irrational choices. This explains why some older adults suddenly start overspending, investing in high-risk schemes, or falling for phone and email fraud. Beyond finances, impaired decision-making can impact daily safety. Some individuals may fail to recognize potential dangers, forgetting to lock their doors, driving in hazardous conditions, or not realizing when they need medical attention. These behaviors can pose serious risks to themselves and those around them. At first, these changes may be mistaken for simple forgetfulness or cautiousness with age. However, if someone consistently struggles with decision-making, misjudges risks, or frequently makes financial errors, it could be a significant sign of cognitive decline. Recognizing these changes early allows family members and loved ones to provide timely support, helping individuals avoid serious consequences. Sometimes, a poor decision isn't just a bad choice, it could be the brain sending a distress signal that shouldn't be ignored. Protecting your brain. Simple strategies to maintain cognitive health. Your brain is like a muscle. The more you train and care for it, the stronger and more resilient it becomes over time. Taking steps to protect your brain doesn't just improve memory, but also reduces the risk of cognitive decline, keeps your mind sharp, and enhances overall quality of life. Below are simple yet effective strategies you can start implementing today to safeguard your brain health. 1. Keep your mind active. Have you ever felt like your brain slows down when it's not being challenged? Just like your body needs exercise, your brain needs stimulation to stay sharp. Learning a new language, playing a musical instrument, solving crossword puzzles, reading books, or engaging in brain-training games like chess can strengthen neural connections, enhance memory, and reduce the risk of cognitive decline. Studies have shown that people who engage in regular mental activities have a lower risk of developing Alzheimer's compared to those who don't challenge their brains regularly. No matter your age, maintaining curiosity and a commitment to lifelong learning is a powerful way to keep your mind healthy. 2. Eat a brain-boosting diet. Did you know that your diet has a direct impact on brain health? The Mediterranean diet, rich in omega-3 fatty acids from salmon, walnuts, and olive oil, along with leafy greens, fruits, and whole grains, has been shown to protect brain cells and lower the risk of memory loss. On the other hand, refined sugars and unhealthy fats can trigger inflammation in the brain and accelerate cognitive decline. Research has linked high blood sugar levels to the buildup of beta amyloid, a protein associated with Alzheimer's disease. Cutting back on processed foods, fast food, and sugary drinks not only helps maintain a healthy weight but also supports long-term brain function. 3. Prioritize quality sleep. Ever wake up feeling mentally foggy and unable to concentrate? Sleep is not just about resting your body, it plays a crucial role in flushing out toxins that accumulate in the brain, including beta amyloid, the protein linked to Alzheimer's disease. Experts recommend getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night to allow the brain to repair and restore itself. Reducing screen time before bed, avoiding caffeine in the late afternoon, and maintaining a consistent sleep schedule can significantly improve sleep quality. 4. Stay physically active. Exercise is not just good for your body, it's one of the most powerful ways to enhance brain function. Physical activity increases blood flow to the brain, delivering essential oxygen and nutrients that support memory and cognition. Just 30 minutes of movement a day, whether it's brisk walking, swimming, cycling, or even dancing, can help lower the risk of cognitive decline. Exercises like yoga and tai chi also improve balance and reduce the risk of falls, especially in older adults. 5. Maintain social connections. Have you ever noticed how an engaging conversation can leave you feeling energized? Research shows that people with strong social networks have a lower risk of developing Alzheimer's than those who live in isolation. Spending time with friends, participating in community activities, maintaining family traditions, or simply engaging in regular conversations with loved ones can keep your brain active and responsive. Social interaction stimulates the brain, reduces stress, and promotes emotional balance, all of which contribute to better cognitive health. Cognitive decline is not an inevitable part of aging. Small changes in your daily habits can make a big difference in protecting your memory and preserving long-term brain health. By keeping your mind engaged, eating a healthy diet, prioritizing sleep, staying active, and maintaining strong social connections, you're actively building a defense against cognitive decline. And the most important step? Start today, because your future brain health depends on the choices you make right now. We often think cognitive decline only happens to the elderly, but the truth is, early signs can appear decades before the disease fully develops. Recognizing these early warning signs and making small lifestyle changes today can help protect memory and brain function for years to come. Pay attention to yourself and those around you. If you notice any of the signs discussed, don't ignore them. A neurological health checkup, a conversation with a doctor, or even simple big difference. Start by prioritizing quality sleep, staying physically active, keeping your mind engaged, and maintaining strong social connections. Caring for you right now. If you found this content helpful, hit like, share this video so more people can recognize the early warning signs, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.